need to stop this. We need to slow this curve down.
Many parents are concerned about childcare as new guidelines for daycare are released. Zach Blanchard has the details.
And there's a lot of information about COVID-19 circulating right now. I sat down with a medical professional to answer some of your questions.
Folks need to basically have some sort of semblance of normalcy in this kind of new reality.
And with businesses across the state closing, some say a cup of coffee can go a long way.
If your kids are home from school, you might be looking for some ways to handle this transition.
How you can help that transition and have some fun as a family.
The sun will be out today. It's going to be real nice, but showers return for the end of the week. This is the Morning Report.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Lindsay Mills. Thanks for being with us in for Lee Goldberg.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sharon Rose Vasnes. Let's get started with that forecast. Take it away, Todd.
Sharon and Lindsay, a couple of issues this morning. If folks are hitting the road in the next few hours, it's likely there's going to be some slick spots. At the very least, you're going to have to do some serious scraping, windshield, and maybe even getting into the car door a little bit. Things froze up pretty solidly last night. Our temps are in the 20s and low 30s, just about everywhere below freezing or close enough where there is at least frost. Now, high pressure is working in, so we're going to have a nice day. We're going to have the sunshine out, and it'll be great to be outside. There won't be much wind either. But we go downhill again tomorrow, and for the end of the week, we'll have some unsettled weather, some more showers returning to the forecast. Crystal clear this morning. Temperatures eventually climbing back up through the 30s and into the 40s as we get into the afternoon. We'll have no clouds around until it looks like early this afternoon when high clouds start to spill in. They'll filter sunshine out this afternoon and evening, but probably give us a really nice sunset, and there won't be much happening this evening, so it's, again, good to be outside. Frosty with slick spots likely this morning around 30. Sunny and pleasant midday, mid-40s, and clouds increase this afternoon with a high temperature in the upper 40s. Now, more wet weather coming in for the second half of the week, but the weekend looks really nice and bright. Details are coming up.
So the coronavirus or COVID-19 has quickly changed our day-to-day lives.
We have team coverage again this morning for you. Zach Blanchard will talk about how daycares are responding to the coronavirus. Chloe Tebow is answering some of your questions.
And Sean Stackhouse is bringing us an update on Maine's COVID-19 cases. Again this morning, Sean, we'll start with you. What's the latest?
Well, the latest information that we have from the Maine CDC is that 32 people in 7 counties have tested positive or are presumed to have the coronavirus. Now, we do know that 3 of those people are currently hospitalized this morning, and the rest are self-isolating at home. Now, Cumberland County has become a hotspot for these cases with 18 reported so far. Lincoln and Androscoggin counties each have 2, and Knox, York, and Kennebec counties all have 1 recorded case. And it's also important to note, though, the Maine CDC has not told us the location for 7 cases yet. And the head of the Maine CDC says the number of cases will keep going up as it spreads through communities. And we'll get an update on cases and state response later today here in Augusta. Now, many of the folks who are hard at work tracking those cases are working right here behind me at the Maine CDC. And like many others that are still going to work to keep their communities safe, they need just a little boost to start their day.
Bigger sizes, more shots of espresso.
This is House Calmer Coffee House in Augusta, a stone's throw away from where doctors are working on the front lines at the Maine CDC.
But definitely with this going on, we have seen an uptick in terms of what they're buying.
And it's not just CDC workers keeping this business running. The shop brewed 5 gallons of coffee for the state legislature Tuesday.
We're really pumped that we can provide that still.
Not all businesses are still getting foot traffic, though. Some have had to shut their doors, and the ones staying open are trying to get creative to practice social distancing.
We really just want to make sure we're here and available for our guests and the community as a whole.
Further south, another popular breakfast spot, the Holy Donut, is staying open, but switching to takeout, curbside pickup in Portland, and drive-through at its Scarborough location.
Food and the coffee that folks need to basically have some sort of semblance of normalcy in this kind of new reality for all of us.
Sometimes a cup of coffee means a lot. It goes a long way.
Now, both staff at the Holy Donut and House Calmer Coffee House here in Augusta say that right now is really important to support local businesses, as many have had to shut their doors. Now, for some, it may be still a little uncomfortable. You're unsure if you would like to go and participate with takeout or delivery. And they say that even just getting a gift card could go a long way to helping these businesses during a difficult time. Live in Augusta this morning, Sean Stackhouse, News Center, Maine. Lindsay and Sharon.
Sean, thank you for that update. Some good news, though, for Mainers who have lost their jobs either temporarily or either if they've been laid off. Some closures happening everywhere. The state legislature passed an emergency unemployment bill that will temporarily extend benefits to people that have been laid off, or maybe they're not working for the next couple of weeks because of the coronavirus. And another bill grants Governor Janet Mills access to at least $11 million in state funding to respond to the COVID-19 outbreak. Governor Mills says these emergency measures will support the state's response to the coronavirus and lessen its spread in Maine. Now to something that has so many parents at home talking about new rules surrounding daycares.
Yeah, that's right. Specifically, them becoming more lax in light of the coronavirus outbreak. Zach Blanchard is live in Bath this morning with more on that. Zach?
Good morning, Lindsay and Sharon. Yeah, a lot of uncertainty here for parents this morning. This daycare here, one of several choosing to shut down, despite the fact that the state is actually encouraging them to stay open. And a lot of this conversation all comes down to new emergency guidelines just released to daycares across the state this week, doing away with limits to allow centers to take more children, and even removing background check requirements so that centers can get more people to help keep up. The state CDC says they are following national protocol, but the daycare owner here at Creative Play Childcare in Bath says she feels it is just too risky.
We don't want to mix environments up and have these children get sick. And then their families get sick and their grandparents get sick. We need to stop this. We need to slow this curve down, and everyone needs to stay home.
Many daycares are smaller, and so they don't have the degree of interaction that we can see with, say, a school assembly or something of that nature. So we're keeping all of those factors in mind. There are intense discussions underway right now in terms of how we should be thinking about daycares and what our next steps will be.
Now, the State Department of Health and Human Services releasing a statement to us saying, in part, these guidelines recognize the ongoing needs of the public and Maine's families while prioritizing children's safety. Live in Bath this morning, Zach Blanchard, News Center, Maine.
And for the most recent updates on COVID-19 and how to stop the spread of the virus, text the word FACTS to 207-828-6622. When you do that, you'll receive a link to our most recent article.
Time now for your morning rush. A 12-year-old girl from Eddington is recovering from serious burns she suffered in her own backyard on Monday. Investigators say they think the girl poured a flammable liquid on a burning brush fire, and that ignited her clothing. The girl suffered burns to her face, neck, and chest. She was rushed to a Bangor hospital and then flown by life flight to the Shriners Hospital in Boston. State regulators have approved the sale of Emera Maine. Emera Maine, the dominant electrical company for northern and eastern Maine, is being sold to a company in Canada. State regulators approved the sale yesterday. NMAX, a company, again, based in Canada, is paying $1.3 billion to acquire Emera. The deal includes $5 million for rate relief to those in the low-income home energy assistance program and upgrading grid reliability and customer service. Joe Biden with another big win at the polls. He swept last night's Democratic primaries in Florida, Illinois, and Arizona. Biden now has a commanding delegate lead over Senator Bernie Sanders. Speaking via live stream last night, the former vice president called it a very good night for his campaign. And the Trump administration and Congress are working on a massive stimulus package to boost the economy in response to the coronavirus situation. It could be up to $1 trillion in aid. The proposed package includes emergency loans for small businesses, billions for the hardest hit industries like airlines, and sending checks directly to some Americans. And that is your morning rush.
I'm News Center Maine's Chloe Tebow. Coming up, we're going to listen to a healthcare professional to hear some of the answers to the questions you all have been asking about COVID-19. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
And it looks like our homeschoolers will get some outside recess today. The sun will be shining and temperatures climbing through the 40s, close to 50 in some spots with no rain. I'll be back to talk about the second half of the week and your upcoming weekend in a couple of minutes.
So a lot of you have been sending in questions to us as we continue to follow the coronavirus developments in our state.
Yeah, we've been paying close attention and want you to know we're listening and are trying to get the most answers as possible. News Center Maine's Chloe Tebow joins us this morning to clarify some of those questions that we're seeing the most. Hi, Chloe.
Hi, Lindsay and Sharon. I spoke to Dr. James Jarvis. He's the Senior Vice President and Physician Executive at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center in Bangor, and he walked me through some of the most basic health-related questions. We're going to go over them right now, starting with what are the symptoms? Most people who have COVID-19 actually show no symptoms or have very mild symptoms like a cough, runny nose, or a fever, and difficulty breathing is reported in severe cases. If you do notice these symptoms, you should call your doctor. Do not immediately go to a walk-in or a hospital. Next, how does COVID-19 spread? It's very contagious and can live on surfaces for 24 to 48 hours. One viewer asked us if the virus could live on fruits and vegetables, and Dr. Jarvis says researchers have not seen coronavirus spread that way, but you should still be cleaning your produce like you normally would. When it comes to money, dollar bills are made out of cloth, so the virus can't really survive there. The risk increases slightly for coins, so you should try to use hand sanitizer after handling change. And another question we see a lot is, what is the difference between influenza and COVID-19? It can be hard to tell them apart at first. The main difference is that, unlike the flu, coronavirus develops slowly, so it can actually take up to 8 days for more severe symptoms to show up. It's also a virus that is brand new to researchers, which is why they are trying so hard to stop it from spreading.
The virus that causes influenza and the virus that causes COVID-19 are very, very different viruses. They're not in the same family. I like to say this is not comparing a Chevy to a Toyota. This is comparing a car to a jet engine airplane.
Now, to try to stay healthy, just remember to try to stay 6 feet or more away from each other. And if you are experiencing any of these symptoms and have concern, just try to stay at home. In Bangor, Chloe Tebow, News Center Maine, Lindsay and Sharon.
All right, thank you very much, Chloe.
So a lot of students will be out of school, staying home for the next few weeks.
That's right, and we'll have some ways to make the transition a little easier on the whole family coming up.